Happy 4th of July. How's it going? It's time to let your hair hang down like this. Oh, yeah, I'm that sexy librarian from the teen movies in the 80s. What is going on, everybody? Happy diddly doodly 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 4th of July. July. So, what do we want to talk about today? Freshwater fish. American fish. But first, I think we should start things off with a bang. Probably need to do that. A little, a little bang. She bang, she bang. Oh God, that was loud. Okay. All right. That was loud. Let's turn the camera around again. No? Not gonna let me turn the camera around? Not at all? Alright. That's better. Much better. Happy 4th, everybody. There. I blew something up. They're not poppets either. They're homemade poppets out of Black Cat firecrackers that I bought. They have like a thumbtack in them. So basically, they blow up on contact. But in any case, how's everybody diddly doing? Going inside now. In the cave. Dun 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 dun. 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 Come on. Get on. Get on up. Get on out. Get on up. Get on out. Get on up for that thing. Gonna make you feel better. What's going on, Zach? What's going on, Grant? Going on, Kenny E. Hello, Kenny E. Aquatics. Crypt Keeper. What's going on, man? Stephanie, Drew, Hippie John, Patrick, First Class, Sage, K Day, Ryan, Michael, Jamie, Steven, Drew Son, Dave O, Patrick Hamill. What's up? So how is everybody doing? You guys doing well? Feeling well? Being well? Hey, thank you so very much, Stephen Hubbard. $1.99 super chat coming right out the gates by Stephen Hubbard. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I truly do. Also, even though it doesn't show it for some reason on the StreamYard app that I'm using right now, it also says that I saw on the YouTube app. So thank you, Mr. Ryan from Canada. I mean, that was very, very kind of you, considering you're not even a fellow countryman of us here in the United States. Very kind. Let's see if I can get up the chat log for everybody here so I can actually see what you're saying instead of this terrible StreamYard stream that is, I don't even know why they allow it, use it, whatever. It's awful. It's awful. All right. 102 outside. Yikes. That is hot, Michael. Mark, what's up? Yeah, chat always starts in top chat also. That's another really annoying aspect of like the auto settings. Definitely. I agree. Let's see here. I see that there's 28 of us in here. That's not many people. I guess a lot of people are grilling and blowing things up and all that stuff. Whoa, Kenny's giving out the memberships. Holy cow. Thank you so much, sir. So it looks like Zach was given a membership by Danikin Aquatics. Peplin Creek was given a membership. And Bunny Viper was also gifted a membership. And it looks like, oh, look who else is going to get one. Ryan was gifted one. And Gardaki's Playground RB was gifted one. So, hey, thank you so very much, Kenny. I appreciate that. That's really this is the second time we've actually had that feature used. It's a new feature for the channel. Same with the one where you can super chat videos that you find extra special good, and you're just like, oh, I don't know what to do with my money, Alex. Please, here, you take it. You know, that kind of thing. So I will. It's a heavy burden to carry, but I am willing to take it if I have to. Your money, all of it. So, what's going on, everybody? How's everyone doing? I went on one heck of an adventure today. My wife and I, the lovely Laura. Laura! Anyways, she doesn't want to play right now. But we went on a very interesting quest. We went on a quest to find the headwaters of Lake Washington. So for all of Seattle, the northern part of the city and the western part of the city, everything north of downtown, and well, not even, I mean, actually it's all of northern Seattle. It's I say western because it starts there, but it actually is all of Seattle. So we went to the source of the water, which literally is a hole in the ground that is bubbling up. Like one day Jeb was shooting at some food along, some bubbling crude or whatever, that kind of thing. Like there is a hole in the ground in Seattle. Well, I can verify this. Come here for a moment. Come here. Get in here. Come around. Okay, so I want to make this clear. We found the source, the fountain of youth in Seattle, the hole in the ground. And what did that hole in the ground look like?
Within the garden.
With Stranger Things. So we found the geothermal spring that is like 18 miles of streams in Seattle that all go into Lake Washington, Green Lake, Bitter Lake, all the lakes that are in the northern part of the city, which is where most of the lakes are. And I started doing research on it when I found this strange spot in a neighborhood, and there's a sequoia that's like 250 feet tall and like 500 years old. I don't know how old it is, probably older than that. And no joke, it's bigger across than this wall right here. It's a good 12 to 14 feet across, I would say. And that's just, straight across, but I don't know the dimensions of it. Some are larger, probably the way it was shaped. It wasn't a perfectly round tree. But I found that spot, and I found a creek just coming out of a hillside, like literally just like seeping out of the hillside into a puddle and then flowing. And I thought, this must be where Thornton Creek starts, which is what fuels all the videos I've done where I'm catching freshwater fish in the last 2 or 3 years. They're pretty much here, unless I say I'm in like Florida or somewhere exotic. Exotic for me. If you live in Florida, you're probably like, I don't know what's so exotic about it. But yeah, so we found that spot, and it made me think, like, where does the water actually start though? Like, where is it coming from? Like, where in the water table? It doesn't make sense that it would start where that was. So then I started doing research. I found out that Seattle had a park that's older than the city. It's even older than the state of Washington. And we found this, it's literally a hole like this big of crystal clear water, which is interesting because at an angle, it's got a blue shimmer like there's gasoline on it. And they've made a fountain, like a piece of art around it. And there's this red iron oxide that's all clumped and hanging off of it that has a spillway. And it was designed to be like a statue. But apparently the Native Americans, it was such an important site for them that they used the red dye in the paints and things they had for textiles and for like clay on their face for war paint, for manhood rituals, and for whaling mostly, which were three really huge things in their culture. You know, taking down a full-grown whale with 6 guys in a boat is pretty scary or crazy. Before you know, ammunition and firearms and all that stuff. So they're throwing a stick at them and then jumping on the back of the whale and basically wrangling with it in a little wooden dugout canoe. Some of them were big, but in any case, so they needed that paint. It was like their spiritual protection. And the water source, unfortunately, it's in a real bad part of town. My wife's like, you're going to get us killed to make this video. And I ended up filming so much and doing so much research on this video that I realized not much of it had to do with fish. It all had to do with history, anthropology, ecology, but it really had nothing to do with aquarium fish at the end of the day. So I was like, what am I doing? Why? What have I done? What have I done? So I don't know what to do with the footage now that we made it. I think it's an interesting story, especially if you're from Seattle or the Northwest. Then it's really interesting because I bet you no one knows about it. I didn't know about it, and I'm a big history buff. I'm a big geography buff and Native American studies, anthropology degree in this specific area. And, you know, when over the years they've tried to do things with it, the natives would say no, like, we don't want attention brought to it, we don't want it preserved, we don't want it this, we don't want it that. So it was on in private hands for quite some time. And then there's actually a house there that's still owned by a relative of one of the founders of Seattle since like 1851 56. The house has been there, and there is a pond, and he raises rare ducks, and they had like all sorts of crazy wood ducks that were like the purple headed ones with the like crazy eyes that are like black with the white ring and then a black ring and then a white ring, and all the ones with the crazy frills on their head. They had a few mandarin, like some of the oriental species as they call them, and quails and pheasants. They have over 110 species of rare or threatened or endangered ducks and waterfowl there, including the Siberian black swans. And they're raising them in this water because it's also geothermal. So it's the only geothermal feature in Seattle, in really anywhere other than up in the mountains where there's volcanic activity. And so they also used it as like sacred grounds to process their cranberries and their salmon berries and salal and camas and all the different things they ate. What they would do is they would catch fish out in the ocean, salmon and things, and in the rivers, and then they would all get together and they would like pound it into really thin pieces and dry it and smoke it and have sweat lodges. And it was a gathering every year during the runs of the salmon, the salmon season. They would actually gather the tribes from all over Washington, Oregon, Idaho, parts of Montana and British Columbia, and they would trade. And there's another spot in the east of the mountains that's beautiful where they used to do that too, called Tenasket. And there's still a group of people that meet there. It's usually hippies now, hippies and rednecks. Oddly enough, it's a swap meet. It's like a trunk show, or like a where you drive your car up and you open up the back and you throw out a blanket or a card table and you bring your old junk, old weird collectible junk. Well, it's one of those kind of things. But its history goes back probably about 4,000 years, because there's a language, and they can trace linguistically how old a language is by how much it has been altered and stuff. Yes, barter fair in Tenasket. You got it, Linda. And they spoke Chinook jargon, which they didn't necessarily speak at this place in Seattle I'm talking about. They spoke Lushootseed, which is a Coast Salish language. Anyways, I made this big long video and we followed the creek, and we actually found, before it's even marked as a creek on the map, we followed it through the neighborhoods and looking at satellite pictures, and also looking at somebody had taken Lidar, a big Lidar scan, like the thing they used to find temples in the jungle in the Amazon recently. Somebody had posted a Lidar scan that they had taken when they built the light rail. And so it allowed you to see 10 feet underground by scrolling a foot at a time, and the densities of things. But you could clearly see these like old foundations and ditches and things like that. So it was a combination of LiDAR and probably of sonar or some sort of like on the ground type stuff where they like send sound waves through. But then the laser LiDAR, which is so cool because you can get rid of all the trees and all the like stuff that's in the way, and it shoots lasers at all these different angles and then calibrates, retriangulates, and it figures out the exact level of the ground. So if there's any change, even like a millimeter in the ground, then it can show it when it's imaged and stuff. So you can actually see the creek go under where they buried it, and they turned this sacred creek for the Native Americans, which was also a spawning ground for all 5 types of salmon. There were crappie, pumpkin seed fish, you know, turtles, all sorts of stuff that lived there. Plus, all the animals would come there because, one, it had salt, it had calcium carbonate, it had iron, and the iron is so rich that Washington, I know a lot of parts of the South in the US, a lot of parts of the US in general, have a reddish earth. Around here in Seattle, we don't have anything like that anywhere near here. In fact, we have a blue earth, like made out of clay, that's pretty common here. That's really hard to dig through. It's also waterproof, so even like an inch layer of it in the soil, it's a silt from years and years of being an alluvial floodplain all over the state, basically the western part. And then there's ash from many, many ash falls. So that mixes with mud, and it's a super, super fine clay that's not the best for you, but it's high in silicates and stuff. So anyways, I want to play with that clay to top some freshwater aquariums. Yeah, it should be interesting because it is really water resistant. I mean, when you're digging a hole here for fence posts, it's not uncommon to hit that part, and sometimes there'll be iron seams in it, oxidized iron in the soil, and other times there won't be. But when you hit the blue stuff, the blue clay, it's like the color of my fingernails. It is very, very blue, and it can be gray too, but you'll actually see too, like any stick that fell during that ash fall, and you'll see it all stuck in there. So there'll be layers with like fish, bones, and all sorts of debris. If it was from a time when the natives were living there, this layer fell probably about 10,000 years ago, maybe 8,000 years ago. And it could have been one of the eruptions of Mount Rainier that did it. They don't know for sure. But regardless, it's just kind of an interesting little quirk we have here. And that area was going to be turned into a health spa, and then it was going to be turned into something else. And then they decided that the Olmsted brothers, who designed Central Park, that they were going to design all of North Seattle to be a private park for all the rich people who were coming back from the gold rush up in Alaska. And so they actually designed this like utopian idea of building a lake. And then they had like hot spring baths planned out, and they had a loop because they knew cars were becoming a thing around 1890. They could see the writing on the wall, or at least steam powered something, you know, would be on the way. And they had it all planned so that you could get right back into the city. In fact, there was a trolley that ran there all the way up a 500-foot hill and back into downtown. And all of it's just gone now. It's just houses. It's just suburban sprawl, condos after condos, and industrial warehouses and stuff. And while we were there, there was also a lot of homeless folks that were like camped out, It was sad. There was a lot of like hypodermic needles, and just like somebody had burned down the like orientation center and restrooms and storage shed. But we found this park that's just like a mini park in the middle of the city. And then we followed the old maps from the beginning of Seattle. So it was a really interesting thing. We ended up finding an incredible spot for stickleback. Crystal clear water in the middle of the city from there because it percolated out.
And a bear.
A bear?
You gotta hype up the story.
Oh, and a bear. Yeah, we got one of those new grizzly bears that yeah, or character. One of those new grizzly bears that's mated with a polar bear. The Poldiac grizzly polar bear. And stickleback that were 2 feet long. They were crazy. When I caught one of them, I tried to grab it and it actually went right through my hand, all the way through. No, but actually no. Like we found in the creek sticklebacks, and we were literally able to tell by looking at the sticklebacks. The ones I usually collect in these ponds that are kind of murky, kind of boggy and stuff around here. They get in there from the birds getting their eggs stuck on their feet, or even the fish themselves are sticky when they're little. And they stick to the feather, the down, or whatever you want to call it, the duff. I don't know what you call the feathers of a bird. But then you eider down, and then you take that and it floats around with the eggs stuck to it, just like a feather. And one hatches, two hatch, and pretty soon you got a bunch of sticklebacks, crappie, bass, bluegill, pumpkin seed fish, green sunfish, smallmouth bass in particular, I guess. So those fish all come in that way. Sticklebacks, though, generally come in, although they do come in through birds, they generally like to come up creeks, and they will come up a creek that's like this shallow. There's mud in it. They won't necessarily survive, though, if there's pollution. So one, it told me that pollution minimal, which is great because there was an oil spill into this creek. I mean, this creek has been buried under the city. It's had an oil spill. It had, they tried to mine gold there and also look for oil for some reason. And so they drilled up a bunch of stuff and they brought in a bunch of mercury, because mercury helps you collect gold when you have it in a pan and you're sloshing it around. So then mercury was all over the stream. At the time that the gas station had a slow leak, it was leaded petroleum. And so the leaded petroleum, there's lead in the creek. So there was all these heavy metals and carcinogens and just awful stuff going into the creek, and they declared it a Superfund site throughout all of Seattle. So Laura and I filmed, I don't know, probably 2 hours of footage following this stream, like on the streets, like where there's nothing to see. We're like looking at the GIS maps and US Geological Survey maps and original Seattle founder maps. So it was just kind of a fun little adventure. And it was in our own neighborhood for most of it. And then we traced it to where the creek shows up on the map. But in the meantime, we also found a really awesome beaver pond that was maybe an acre, not even an acre, probably a half to a third of an acre. And these beavers had turned like this one stretch of greenbelt next to the freeway into just this crazy pond that had like a 12-foot waterfall where they dammed it. They built this giant dam, like 40 feet, 50 feet long, of just logs, debris, mud, everything packed in there. And the beavers were there too. So really, really cool stuff to see right in the heart of the city. And the sticklebacks that I caught out of there, they had these ginormous spines. Okay, that's an exaggeration. They had these ginormous spines. The two spine sticklebacks that were in there, they had spines and no armor. Yet the water was crystal clear. Well, they get armor when they're being predated on by small things. So other fish. That's when they get armor because it makes their chances of being bit. It gives them a chance of maybe losing part of their tail and then swimming off and living another day. Whereas if something like I don't know, a coyote or a bear or whatever, not a bear, nothing, a raccoon or a coyote comes in and wants to eat, or a bobcat, they're going to get a fish this big and they're just going to, doesn't matter if they have armor or whatever, it might make them crunchy or not as tasty, but they don't really care. And same with like the eagles and things. So it's really for like frogs and newts and bass and maybe ducks. And so by seeing that they had these crazy spines that are barbed and hooked, and have actual like fins connected to them still, it looks completely different than all the other sticklebacks that I've posted pictures of or that I've gotten out of the water and in further down the creek by about 8 miles. And it looks nothing like the stuff in the lakes. It looks like stickleback that you find up in the mountains, the alpine mountains, and it's right in our city. So the creek, once it was uncovered again, instead of being in an underground piping and being diverted into our sewer. So from 1880 to 1940 something, they just made all that sacred water coming out of that geothermal vent in the city. All of it just went into the sewer to help them flush poo out into the salt water, which is what they did with it until that point. And then they made then they started dealing with the actual sewage, and they got sewage treatment plants, and they stopped doing that. So then the stream also had old houses that hadn't hooked up to the new sewer. So all through the late 40s and all the 50s, there was human waste. Then the big leak in the 50s of the gas station. Then there was the mercury. Then there was cobalt and cadmium and all sorts of stuff that was coming out of the ground anyways too, because of that stream. Uh, and you see the water coming up from that stream right now, even today. It looks almost crystal clear, except when you look at it from an angle, it has a metallic blue shimmer, like there's oil on it or something. But it looks like a blue, like a protein film. But anyways, it was just really cool to go see and to find this little pond. It's not that far away from my house, and it's not. I didn't find any other fish in there, but these are the creeks that the natives used for salmon, and they've uncovered and made the culverts wider, and areas that flood and things they've rerouted so that now this creek really gets raging a couple times a year. Instead of being 6 or 7 feet deep and 20 feet across, it'll go like 15 feet, 20 feet deep, and spill up over the cut that it's made all through the place, the city. So I have a bunch of footage of that. It feels like it's not aquarium related at all, even though, I mean, I found aquarium plants that were cool. I like aquatic plants that were growing there that I've never seen in our city before that are native. I saw a water mint that looked incredibly beautiful, and all sorts of giant skunk lettuce or skunk weed, whatever you want to call it. That it was, the leaves were literally, it looked like something out of the Amazon. The leaves are I've never seen them that big, even out in the national forest. So there's something, I think, in the water with all the minerality that no one else gets around here, not another area gets. So there's like some cool stuff to see, but I don't know if anybody wants to watch it on here. Some of you guys seem to like my nature hikes, though. So I'm thinking about condensing it and then just like labeling it, finding the headwaters of Seattle's geothermal basin or something like that. Thanks, Patrick. So who else has walked in here? Adam Shook, what's up? Hippie John the Fisherman, good to see you, my friend. Leo Vinoski, Fishkoto, hello. Sarah, what's up? Who else is in here? Barb. Hello, Barb. Good to see you, Barbie D. Nanoscape 30. Paul McCarthy. What's up? And of course, we've got Jess. Hello, Jess. And I don't even know who else came in. Buttface and NaCly. What is that? Salt, calcium Y. I don't know the Y part. Like salty? Is that calcium chloride? Wait, yeah. Would that be salty? Is that your name, Salty? Am I getting it? Did I not get the joke? Anyways, so what do you guys want to talk about? I was thinking the native fish. We can also, if we want, we can go take a look out in the ponds. I got a couple fish out there that are native, but yeah, right on, Salty. I got it. Yes, yep, yes. Um, Today we do have to. My wife and I do have to go to an obligatory barbecue uh, for the 4th of July. July, and July. You all lied. So, yeah. Bring on to pond. Okay, well, we can do that. So nobody has any questions. I really, really want to get a pond of red. Um, well, the leposoma, but um, they're it's a wide category of fish. They're not that native to here. We have green sunfish and we have pumpkin seed fish that may or may not have been here. They've been here a long time, but maybe they weren't here more than 120 years ago. They were probably brought by settlers, honestly. But we've got a few fish like that that are in the sunfish group, and they are really really beautiful. If you guys saw my like 5 or 6 minute clip of the sunfish spawning, the pumpkin seed fish the other day, it was, I mean, they were beautiful. They were like this color with this color on their sides, like pigeon blood pattern on a discus, and then their tail was like this metallic, like really shimmery blue, and it turned into yellow and then to green and then back to blue. It just looked awesome. Looked really cool. Regina Phalanges, what is going on? I hope you are having a wonderful 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th. I hope you have a great 5th of July, not of Jack. All right. Bates and Genetics, what's going on, brother? Good to see you, buddy. T-Bone, also excellent, excellent to see you. Love seeing you, as well as Kenny. Kenny, I see you. I see you. I hear you. I feel you, Kenny. But the beautiful little sunfish, they all kind of interbreed within about 30 species around the world, if you count all of them. All these little perchlets and perch and bass and sunfish, and a lot of them are hybridizing in our water here, and they're really interesting. The red-eared ones are the most colorful that I've ever seen, and I think so. Here's the tie back that the reason these bogs and ponds in our area have incredibly colored fish is because of that minerality. I think it's growing plants that then are able to turn those things into pigmentation that they would never normally be able to produce. Things like carotenoids and anthocyanin and anthocyanins, they're able to create those. And the other really weird quirk about the anthocyanins, if you guys recall, is like the azolla plant that I had. When it is kept in acidic water, which is almost always the case with bogs and slow rivers, black water rivers, muddy rivers, most rivers are either neutral to acidic, and in our state, I don't think there's a single river that is not neutral or less, other than maybe right by the coast where there's like shells or limestone kind of thing. Um, I might be wrong, but I think that's the case just because I've never tested and found like a crazy, 8.2 pH water anywhere around here. And so I think the fact that you've got that pH swing with that geothermal spring that I was talking about, that the whole city's park department, it was the first park in Washington Territory, let alone Seattle. Um, I think that actually is building those building blocks and allowing for that. And then the really special part is that when the water is alkaline, you can get blue, and blueberries tend to grow in alkaline soil. Whereas cranberries, blackberries, raspberries, huckleberries, all those kind of things, they tend to be in more acidic soil, and you get the red colors. Whereas in the center, right at neutral, you get purple. So the reds in these fish are nuts, and I don't think it's a coincidence when the berries also are just crazy colorful as well. So, Johnny at Dan's Fish, what's going on? Blueberries need super acidic soil. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Blueberries need super acidic soil. So then, yeah, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Because when you cook them, they turn red in the thing. And then if you add baking soda or what's the other one called? Soda, baking soda, and baking powder. Then it turns back to a beautiful blue color. So yeah, that must be it. Blueberries also grow better if there are multiple varieties in the same area, even the self-pollinating ones. Ah, interesting. Yeah. Ticket to Space, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Um, so yeah, it's I've filmed a few different things and in those bogs, and I found a lot of plants this year that I didn't find last year, just new stash spots to go raid. But I also found a North American water mint that is really gorgeous. It's like it looks like mint in your garden, but it's aquatic and it has red margins or red veins, red veining. Adam Shook, I have a question. What do you suggest sanitizing your tools like nets, tweezers, etc., if you use in multiple tanks, like diluted vinegar? Yeah, you can do that. I know people who have used just real salty water. I also know people who, what was it, colloidal silver, maybe? And then I also know people, I wouldn't mess with that just because I don't know what it would do to the TDS or anything like that. But honestly, I prefer to just clean them thoroughly every few weeks or maybe every week with a like 5-to-1 bleach to water solution kind of thing. That's generally what I do. But then you have to make sure you either use dechlorinator or let it sit and evaporate a really long time, or you kill your fish. You kill your fish. Gefilte fish. Gefilte fish. Regina, thank you so very much. We got a $15 super chat from Regina Phalanges. Thank you so very much. Between the super chats today, guys, I appreciate them, and the gifting of memberships, allowing people to go to hit that community tab and check out what y'all get to see, the fishery episodes each week, which, by the way, there's a fishery episode that was for today. But hopefully tonight, I'll finish up the other 4. I have the stories picked out. Just haven't recorded the scripts. The scripts are even written and everything. So hopefully I'll get that uploaded before anyone's even awake tomorrow, like 4 a.m. tonight. Hydrogen peroxide is okay. It doesn't sterilize. It does kill a lot of organic living small critters, but it doesn't truly like sanitize, which is a bit of an issue. Um, so there's that. But it does get into the cracks and foam things up and get any little debris and like helps loosen things up. Um, for sure. Monster Fish Gal, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for coming by. Happy 4th of July to you too. So, mains, tails, fur, and fins. I'm the bomb. Well, great. Who said? Oh, now I said it. Now I'm gonna get like demonetized. Um, Definitely worth the membership. Well, thank you, Hippie John the Fisherman. I appreciate that. And I guess I don't know exactly how to give memberships, but I think there's an option when you buy a super chat to buy memberships, and then it buys other people memberships. My memberships are dirt cheap, $1.99, as cheap as you can make them, and I'm gonna keep them that way because I already feel guilty at $1.99. So, not guilty enough not to push it though. I am drinking a Coca-Cola, one of the Mexican Coca-Colas. It's just a Coca-Cola that uses cane sugar instead of a little polar bear goes by. Um, yeah, Dan's fish, it doesn't sanitize. That's interesting. We've been using a bottle of peroxide per 40-gallon tank to sanitize between fish. You know, what the thing is, it's not going to kill all your bacteria or viruses. It will kill a lot of things. It'll kill a lot of single cell stuff. Any retrovirus, definitely not going to kill. And any rhino, corona, any like very hard coded viruses, and even some of the what do you call them? Oh, it's gonna bug me. They're a parasite, and they're, oh, what are they called? Oh, protist, yeah. So yeah. Dr. Pepper has been in short supply. Is something like jungle net juice effective? Well, so I got this so that I could stay awake. Like I had to take allergy medicine when we went out into the wilderness. You might be able to see it, but I've actually got like these like hives, and like when I get them like here and up in here, like I start sweating, my face turns like bright beet red, and then like these hives grow, and if they get big enough, they bust, and they bust the skin. You can probably see some of the texture of it all still. But I wanted to drink the Coke because the Coke has more caffeine than the Dr. Pepper, just slightly, and you know, pure sugar. Hey, Kenny, I 150 billion% agree that we should drive out to Wyoming and check out Dan's fish. You know, the other crazy thing that we should check out, and it's on topic with what we're talking about today, is that we could go out. We've got to do it like soon. They're going to kill all these fish out there. But there is a spot called Kelly Warm Springs in the Grand Tetons on the Idaho border, right north of Jackson, Mississippi, or Jackson, Mississippi, Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And it is an awesome spot for invasive fish. They're surrounded by cold water, and so people have put them in these geothermal hot springs there, and they've got cichlids. I mean, there's red devils, green terrors, mollies, platies, all sorts of stuff, and it's like this just big pond out in Wyoming. So if we go visit him, we gotta go hit that spot. Plus, there's another lake in Utah that's geothermal, and it's sustaining all sorts of invasive fish, but it's like landlocked in the middle of the desert. It gets cold at night, but the geothermal keeps it warm enough, and then in the day it gets pretty warm too. But people have been putting their pet fish in there for like, I don't know, 100 years. No joke, 100 years. Same with in the Tetons, which there aren't many people living in that part of the country anyways. That's the least populated state, or most, what is it, least people per square mile, I believe. It's always between Nevada and Wyoming. And yeah, I mean, I want to hit both those places up. Plus, there are so many cool native fish once you get over the Rockies. We are really cut off from the all the little fish, the shiners, the all the awesome little uh darters, shiners, daces, snook, all that kind of stuff. We don't get any of that over here. Uh Let's see here. Rob McClure stopped by on his way to his GSAS talk. Oh, right on. That's my club. Buffface, what's up? It's been. Oh, it moved. Well, never gonna find out what he thought. Um, let's see here. He said, "It's been such a joy listening to your streams. Thank you." Hey, you are more than welcome. Thank you, especially for becoming a member. Man, thank you so much. Appreciate it. It really does help, especially these summer months. I know I've said it, but I want to say it not just for me, I'm surviving, but for the other YouTubers that are really, really, really depending on it. Man, it's tough in summer for fish tube, for any tubers, especially now because everybody was locked down, and now they're like, we're free. Screw those fish. I'm never gonna feed them again. So that's a bummer. Barb has a question or an opinion needed. Do you buy shrimp from different sources? If they breed together, can it cause them to lose color? I have blue dreams. So that is a great question. It's a tricky question. And the thing is, you have to really trust your breeder if that's going on. Because for instance, and you've got the probably the second roughest kind of color morph of the Neocaridina. So you could have a Neocaridina that has palmata, which is a different species than Davidi or Zengensis. That is, so the palmata is your snowballs, your light yellows, your light sky blues, and it's where our best green lines come from, with across that with them too. However, most your cherry shrimp traditionally are the Neocaridina davidi. And the Neocaridina davidis are very well selected for at this point. But there is a natural morph of them that is like a rusty red color but translucent. And that is the red or cherry variety. That is what cherry shrimp were at first in the hobby. They didn't have domestic lines of them. And so you need to then realize that from the cherry shrimp, they selected them for redder and redder and redder. And then orange shrimp mutated. At the same time, people were starting to get clear patches. So Reilly and Riley shrimp started developing. The same time as that, the red lineage of painted fire, the darkest red colors, the way they were getting them was that the blue pigment always sits underneath the red pigment in shrimp for some genetic reason. But for that reason, if you have a blue dream shrimp and it dies in your tank, it'll be blue, then it'll be red, then it'll be clear, and then it'll be gone if it dies. Whereas if a red shrimp dies, it stays red. If a green shrimp dies, it usually turns kind of a yellow color. But especially deep red shrimp, a lot of times you'll notice that there's blue in them as they're decaying. So there's that line, and then there's also the Shoko line, which is the chocolate, carbon really, Bloody Mary, and there's a few other morphs now too, like the carbon really and the gold ones. But they've also had diamond, I believe it is, that are blue. And then there's also another blue that it goes orange or pumpkin. And then, so it goes from nature to red to uh, like an orange mutation to then a yellower mutation that evolved from that. Then the yellow got crossed with green. Then the green got dark enough that they crossed blue from another blue line in. So long story short, you have to know that the line is the same. Otherwise, you're going to get genes that are saying layer this color on top, this one on bottom, and the blue might be below the species black, or it may be below their orange, and then you get a real brown muddled looking shrimp. And that's how you get brown looking uh, clearish looking shrimp from the wild, is that they are basically, they have a clear exoskeleton, but then beyond that they've got the little pigments. They're little tiny dots that give them color. And in the cherry shrimp, the Neocaridina, if we turn this around here, um, in these guys, you'll see that it's so red that you can't see anything. But these are one of the examples of the ones with blue underneath the red. These are the painted fire reds. And you can kind of even see the blue under the belly when they swim. It's kind of like a dark, clear blue. And then there's the Riley or Really, which obviously don't have that. Oops, I just dimmed the light with my hand as I tried to flip it. Um, and so then you get these ones, like this little guy. So if you had a blue topaz, a blue diamond, a blue dream, a blue velvet, a sky blue, all of those are different fish. And so you would end up with different genes, and some of them don't mix to make straightforward stuff. So that can be frustrating, I know, but it's just something we got to deal with in the hobby. So if you get blue dreams, make sure you're getting more Neocaridina blue dreams from someone you believe actually is telling the truth on the line name. If they are just making up names and guessing because they're importing from abroad and they don't know the source or anything, then you could end up with the wrong kind. Now with red shrimp, a little more easy going. Like, they're probably still going to be red, but Bloody Marys you wouldn't want to mix with cherries because they're from the brown line, whereas the red shrimp that are painted fire, the brightest ones, are from the red line. So I know that's a bit confusing, but there it is. So in here, I just wanted to update you guys too. I don't know if Grant's still in here, but I have a few things to tell you while we look at some shrimp. And that is that I am going to Florida on September 10th, but I think I'm going to get there like the 8th through the 15th or something like that, if I can swing it financially. And I want to visit y'all, any of y'all down there on the central coast of California, of Florida. Um, and I hopefully I'll go see Lucas, and I'll also be for sure be speaking at the club there. So it should be a really good time, but that's going to be September instead of December now. So they bumped me up, and I got bumped because I'm a real important dude. But I'm so excited to go down there. Hopefully, go collecting, get some more native fish, and send them back degenerately. So I wanted to show you guys just because they've grown up now. But the shrimp that Grant sent me, he sent me tangerine tigers, which you can see the orange ones, and then he sent me these cheetahs. Hold on, these beautiful, colorful cheetahs that nobody knew for sure what species they were. This guy right underneath the lettuce, under the Saswasser tank. And then he also sent me blue stardusts or stardusts. And there goes one of those. So the stardust uh, and the cheetahs have crossed successfully. And there's some bluish ones, like one back here. This one's blue with some white dots. That's like a stardust tangerine cross. And then there's some cheetah tangerine crosses, being the most numerous. And they're these green guys right here. Now, they're not a strong green by any means. You can see them here, but they are green. I mean, they are definitely like greener than a babalti shrimp is green usually. And they've got kind of a yellow flare to the center of their back too. So I'm really wanting to actually see if we can get this, and here's more of them, to get this line going, because these are Caridina with tangerine tiger, which is Caridina serrata blood, and they're doing real well. Also, look at all the mad mix of nano fish over here in the breed out tank. They're all hanging out, doing their thing. The rasbora with the long fins, the songfong's. We've tried to spawn them a few times. We're waiting to see if the most recent attempt is going to work, but who knows. So exciting stuff there. It's also time to put all the guppies and things outside. Today it was 65 for the high, and the low was like 58. And that's pushing it with some of the tropical species, but for the most part, I think they'll be all right. And I think they'll enjoy just getting outside, getting some bugs, things like that. So they're going out. All these guys are going out. All my gold barbs and the last of what were born indoors this year of my albino paradise gouramis, and then the rosy barbs, they're all going outside tomorrow or maybe even tonight. And so are these guppies in here, the least killifish, the dojo loaches that are in the lake water. Look how dark the lake water is. You can't even see what's going on in it without like a mag light. But there's a dojo loach. And I'm going to be auctioning off some dojo loaches that were obviously invasive. Oh, and if you guys looked and you saw my cyanobacteria episode, this is the tank that was suffering with cyanobacteria all over the top. I mean, all over by the time it got treated. And now I'm happy to say that only one fish was lost. Now, the bummer is that it was Mr. Smiley's ladyfish, which is a bummer. The cichlid lost his lady. He did. But he's doing really well. He's fine. The dwarf acara. And all the pencil fish are fine. You know, everybody's fine. Even the gobies are fine. And that there's like a few last pieces that I can suction up with this siphon here. But like, let's see. Yeah, like there's one piece of cyano, and another little piece on the wall. There's just not much to speak of left anymore, which is absolutely great. You know, I'm real excited about that. So that's all good and gravy. And then this tank still can't figure out why nothing's growing back there really, other than I think there's too much light. I think this crazy contraption has too much light. Also, Luke, if you're watching, my Nanochromis, they're doing awesome. They're just living it up, living it up. It's New York. Yeah, look at that. That one is a male, I believe, with the red and blue tassels on the back fin, the caudal fin. Same here with this one. It's got red and blue checkerboard on its tail. Whereas the female, she'll have a lack of that. She'll have some subtle blue, but no red in the tail. Whereas these guys have red or burgundy and clear. And then I'm surprised my thick-lipped gouramis fattened up a bit more too. So go figure. But the other good news is that I have more Malawa shrimp. So those of you who've paid, you can go back to that episode, the live stream where I said I'm selling Malawa shrimp and also dojo loaches and things, and I've priced them all in the pinned comment. Plus, I think they're also in the description. Yeah, see here, this one has no color on the caudal fin. So hey, move there. No colorful caudal fin versus the colorful and checkered caudal fin. So those are real easy to tell apart. Um, But down here, I've got a whole another tank of shrimp. Also, some of these little danios. The duckweed is just out of control here. It's been a week and it just always regrows. It's like a never-ending battle. But these are the chopper danios. They've been having some babies, but still, the shrimp are taking over again. So, like I said, I still have quite a few normal Malawa shrimp that I want to get rid of. And then, here's some more normals or coals. They're all over the glass doing their thing, uh, goofing off. And the other interesting thing too, I've got Rhamnocentris ornatus fish in here, and they're supposed to be very good at withstanding cold temperatures for rainbow fish. They're supposed to be the best, but I've never really tried them outside, and I guess I'm going to. I don't. I mean, I started with like 10 of them, and honestly, in this filter, like this was running as a filterless tank, and since everyone said they were so hardy, I wanted to try them out, and they just kind of slowly disappeared. I do know that there are at least probably five or six still in here, but of the 10, they're definitely not all here. The coaches always steal food out of the way. Plus, those things, the ornatus seem to want room to roam. They don't like the dense jungle looking tanks. But the Corys do, and they're breeding and doing their thing like crazy. They're little madmen. Uh, and if we take a look, just going to take a quick look to see if there's any of the super blue or super red. Yeah, we got a red Malawa right here, one of the coals. And then got another red right there. But the blue Malawa, um, those seem to be the hot ticket that folks want because like as most folks know in the shrimp hobby, there were people talking about talking about it doing it on a forum about 5-6 years ago, and that was as far as they ever publicly got anyways, and then I've never heard more about it after that was lost on Planted Tank Forum. But I've stuck with it now for going on 7 years, and finally, we've got some really nice blue and some really nice red. And I'm kind of calling the ones that I have to cull out of here rainbow, because the blue ones, they throw blue, red, yellow, all sorts of different colors that are like mild usually, but sometimes they're intense. And then the red ones don't seem to throw blue ones often. It's like once in a blue moon kind of a thing. So we still have some though in this big tank, and by that I mean enough that I can still part with some. Okay, the blue ones are hanging out over here right now together. Here we go. Check this guy out if we can get him to come this way. Um, here he comes. This guy is like sky blue, beautiful, beautiful blue Malawa right here, right under here, and yeah, so that's what people, I mean, I had other people that wanted, even in Europe, that wanted to pay 20, 30 bucks for me to ship them one of these, but it just, wasn't practical or reasonable, especially lately with everything going on in shipping. But I'm selling them in the US. Yeah, that's how blue they are when I send them. And I take a picture of them. See, here's a blue one and a red one next to each other. Um, And compared to what they look like when I got the line, I mean, holy cow, they've changed. It's taken a long time, but they've changed. So yeah, from that clear color to that. And also the babies are getting bigger. They're getting their own color in here. They're getting iridescent. I'm hoping for another male. I need another male to run this roost. Hopefully, when he challenges dad, it just doesn't go poorly. But we've got the head female and four other female of the Haplochromis and Mr. Meanest Fish out there. And then their babies. I always think like, oh no, the babies are all gone. They killed them or something. And then all of a sudden, like one will zoom by, another one will zoom by, another one will zoom by. They just lay pretty low. Like here's two together. Um, Actually, they're quite different looking, those two. Um, must just be growing pains. They're going through their awkward stage. And then the other thing I was going to show you guys too was that my cribs that are in here, they were throwing some pretty crazy color morph looking stuff. Hold on. Like they themselves had colored up pretty crazy. Um, and I don't know. I haven't really seen them spawning. I think they need a less hectic tank, perhaps. But I am still checking to see. Yeah, see that one? She's like ghostly white in the belly. And that's why I bought her, was she was like a Nigerian red, and she's not albino or leucistic, but she's just a very pale white. And then I got some other ones that are purple. So they're purple. Uh, so yeah. Anyways, I'll probably put some of the betas outside too. Heck, I'm even tempted. Hey, stop fighting. I'm even tempted to put these big old meanie faces out there just to see if we can get some spawning to happen. Maybe in a month or two of being outside, maybe it'll trigger, and then I can just swoop the babies out. I don't know. I'll probably ask Lawrence since he's the one who got them for me, and see what he thinks. But yeah, so there's lots of fun things going on in the fish room. Lots of the same, but lots of fun new stuff too. Oh, the rice fish. Their colony of babies right here. They're going to be going outside. Uh, so yeah, we got lots of good things going on. These thick-lipped gouramis could go outside no problem too. Most of the like inlay stuff can go 60 degrees Fahrenheit, no problem. Oh, here, look. So this big old male thick-lipped gourami, he's been building his nest up here. And actually, that looks really frothy. Are there eggs in here? Let's see. I don't see any. But yeah, I see he gets mad when you mess with his nest. So now he's got to remake it. But these two big males, they're showing off for this little gal who she must light up their life. You light up my life. Okay. Amy Lou, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I appreciate it greatly. How often do I vacuum? Almost never. The only time I vacuum is if I'm worried about cyanobacteria or algae, I guess, building up. And then I'll go around and I'll get like any leaf that's half dead or dying. Sometimes I'll vacuum up excess snails if they've burst. But see this debris that's kind of broken down? This is the tank that had the cyano. And right now, I can already tell like why it had a cyano outbreak with no nitrites, no nitrates, and no ammonia. It was like this tank should be totally healthy. Should be a totally healthy tank. Well, I mean, with no nitrates, a little too many phosphates, and the wrong pathogen, all of a sudden, boom, you introduce it, and if there's enough biological material, aka everything that was floating up here, I've had to clear out because it was stacked in tight like this, getting a ton of heat and humidity, and it ended up growing cyanobacteria. So not good, not good, not good, not at all. Now this tank is also empty now, which is nice to know. The heater's not on either, but this tank's empty except for some shrimp, some Siloaceae shrimp, and so I can do something new with it or grow out new babies, and that's always good news. I do kind of want to watch closer and find when the next female has a mouthful of babies and do what Lawrence did to get them, which is just grab their mouth and squeeze it. And they all just pop out like one of those. Oh, no, not yet, hun. Hun, no. What time is it? It's almost 6. Okay. All right, guys. So we're gonna look at the green water tanks, and then I guess I gotta go. We gotta go do our 4th of July thing. But so I'm feeling squirrely. I'll stream again, maybe tonight. But again, this water looks pretty nappy, pretty gnarly. But I put the new plants in it, and we've got all these sticklebacks in here. There are like a bunch for Professor X for Anthony. Let's see here. We've got, yeah, so look, I literally just took a random scoop and I've got a stickleback. So we've got a bunch of them in here. No aeration or anything. It's not hot yet at all, so I'm not worried about any of that yet. But yeah, there's also some freshwater sculpin in here. I had literally, I don't know, 45 or so of those at one point. All caught on the same day in the same lake, just by hand. So kind of crazy. And then tadpoles are in here at the green water, but the Medaka are going in there soon. So we're headed over to a barbecue at Lara's friends, and I'm being told I'm a bad boy for streaming late. In here, I was gonna show you the Dojo Lochimus. The Dojo Lochimus. Where are they? There they are. There's one, anyways. He's eating a flower or a thing, whatever. He's eating something. But these Dojo Loaches so bulletproof. I'd send them through the mail to Siberia. Seriously. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate all of you being here, and I really do. It means a lot to me. But I got to roll on out. Roll out. Me and my homies, we got to go. Roll out. So might be back later tonight after the festivities. I don't know. See. And yeah, I gotta go. But thank you so much, super chatters. Thank you, mods. Thank you, lurkers, hangers on that are gonna come by later, watch part of it. We won't hear this, so maybe not. Thanks to you, but thank you to everybody else. You guys all rock who are part of this, and I'll talk to you guys next time and in the next video. Have a awesome 4th of July if you still got one to celebrate. Talk to you later. Bye. And thank you so much for the super chats and memberships and membership gifts, Kenny. Thank you guys. Bye.